So yesterday I thought I would try something different to what I would normally do for training my horses. The past version of me would grab a lead rope and a halter my horse and ask them to come on. I wouldn't give them much of a break apart from when they did a good thing in my books, such as walking on the float or just stepping on the ramp. I would then back them off and take them for a walk away from the float, essentially making it so that it's, good that they did what I asked them to do, and then I give them a break away from the float. Well, I'm no longer that past version of me. I'm this new version of me, and that calls for some experimentation. I truly believe that clicker training is the way to go for my horses specifically. I'm not saying that pressure and release is bad or clicker training is the only way to go, because I'm very nuanced. I'm very much in the grey area with life in terms of I just think every tool can be used in any situation if it's called for it. I don't just specifically box myself into one method or one style of training, because horses are different and we're individuals, and it just makes it more complex if you just stay in your own lane instead of trying more things. Like, I'm very much an all-rounder. I like to have experience with just about pretty much anything so that I know I can use it when I need it, if I need it, which most of the time I don't need it. Anyways, so I decided to just do my clicker training treats reward at Liberty. And the reason why I chose to do this is because it's the first step in my program that I'm creating. It gives the horse autonomy. It allows me to see where their mind is at around what I'm asking. So as you can probably tell, Penny is a little bit hesitant. And I think that she's hesitating because she is often quite sore and tight in her body, which prevents her from going for a good gallop in the paddock. Even a trot can be hard for her some days. She has been put on my list for eventually being put to sleep if the time calls for it, just because she's got a lot of body issues. She probably will never get ridden. She'll probably not have the capacity to do much more than Liberty stuff, because that's what she can do in terms of telling me what she can and can't do without my influence. Because she's a pleaser. She wants to do everything I'm asking her to do, and oftentimes she'll end up a little bit sore because she's just put herself aside and done what I wanted her to do. And though that's very honourable, it's also detrimental to her body. So I am doing my usual clicker training treat reward for effort, any effort, as both Delta and Penny get on the float. And I'm not adverse to letting the other horse join in. I know it can get a little bit crowded because we're doing two horses at once and such. But I often also think that by having Delta next to Penny gets a little bit more confidence from Delta. What you don't see is that my phone went flat at the middle of this session and toward the end of the session. So I did actually get Delta all the way on the float without having to pressure her, because she was able to say no and get off when she felt like she had to. And when she was scared, she could do something about it. She could follow her thoughts. It wasn't just me telling her what to do and her doing it and fighting that, perhaps, because that's what Delta is more like. She would likely she does fight pressure. So we're working on that. Anyways, so Penny doesn't get on all the way in this first session, but this is the very, very, very first session I've ever done this with these two horses. And Monster is nowhere to be seen. And I know that's because I have done a lot with him in terms of kind of overriding his safety mechanism. He's a good horse. He always gets on the float. He gently comes off the float. In terms of being like on the physical plane, everything Monster does is good, and he's very good at it. I don't know what else to say about that, because he's just really good. But on the emotional side, he doesn't feel safe he feels like I have overridden him and told him to get on when he didn't want to. He didn't get that choice as such, the autonomy. So he doesn't really want to have anything to do with the float when I bring it in the paddock. But I don't mind, because I'll do this more often. I'll bring the horse float into the paddock and let them get used to it and get on. And then eventually what I'm going to do, which is what my program will follow, is that we do and start everything at Liberty, and then we start bringing the halters in, and then the gear and all of that stuff. But you can find out more once I release this program. I'm still creating it, so it's not yet a product to be purchased yet. So Delta gets very confident. Like I said, you won't see the end result because my phone went flat. Penny gets a little bit more confident because Delta's there showing her to just stand on the ramp. And it's so fascinating to me because I could just tie Delta up and Monster and leave them be and just have Penny. But Penny gets a lot of confidence from the other horses. And Delta knows that. So that's so interesting because Delta, like you can see, she's just patiently waiting there. And Penny keeps going up and trying. I don't know if this is like an age difference because Delta is 13, Penny is 4. Delta has had foals, babies in the past, and Penny is still technically a baby. So I don't know if there's some form of emotional intelligence there in terms of like Delta recognizing what the task is, recognizing that Penny is not doing what, she would deem as confident. And then coming in and helping her, as well as wanting to get treats. Now, my horses know that if they work together, they get treats together, and it's not just a fight over resources. So oftentimes they won't fight over the resource. They still sometimes put their ears back at each other, but that's not encouraged. It's discouraged. So I'll leave it there because we're pretty much nearly at 10 minutes. We've got 7.5 minutes. But I just wanted to voice what was happening here and the fascinating sorry, I'm a little bit sick, so my brain is not working very well, but the fascinating behaviors that happen, and they give themselves breaks quite often, which is something I can learn to do for myself. So I do, when they take a break, I'll take a break. I don't go after them. I don't put a halter on to get my point across and make them do what I'm asking them to do, because I know that eventually they'll come back, because curiosity killed the cat. They love being involved. They love getting treats. They love connecting with me. They love getting things right. It's just sometimes the energy or the pressure builds up, and then they need to disperse that energy by walking away, having a break, which also breaks my mental pressure and then allows me to just have a break for a moment before I continue. And that way we're all fresh and open-minded and curious and playful, instead of getting pressurized into making the horse do it, getting the training across. I'm trying not to impose what I want from them onto them. I'm allowing them to come to the table with what I'm asking instead.